Well, the murder trial against Alex Murdaugh is now underway. Jury selection began this morning in Colleton County. Murdaugh is charged with murders of his wife and son. Now, representing him is one of the most prominent defense attorneys in the state, Dick Harpootlian. Well, now for decades, Harpootlian has been connected to another powerful defense attorney, and that's Jack Swerling. The two were once even law partners. So last week, we sat down with Swerling to learn more about Harpootlian's strategy in this trial and how he believes this may be one of the biggest cases this state has ever seen.
From my experience, it probably would be in the top 10 that I've seen over the 50 years I've been practicing law.
Jack Swerling is no stranger to major cases in South Carolina. He's one of the most prominent defense attorneys in the state with more than 50 years of legal practice. In the late 80s, Swerling was notoriously nicknamed Mr. Murder for defending hundreds of murder suspects, including convicted killers Donald Pee Wee Gaskins and Larry Gene Bell.
Well, I think from my perspective, it just means that somewhere along the line I earned the reputation of trying lots of murder cases, and there's been a couple hundred. I mean, there's no question about that, at least. I stopped counting, years ago.
Swerling is also connected to the Alex Murdaugh murder trial. While he's not on the legal team, he's longtime friends with Murdaugh's lead attorney, Dick Harpootlian. Before beginning his current law firm in 1991, Swerling and Harpootlian were partners.
We go to each other all the time about running a strategy or talking about a legal issue. I mean, it's not unusual for us to get on the phone with each other and talk about things like that.
Has he called you?
And we did it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've spoken to him about it. Yeah, he had, some strategic questions or legal questions or procedural questions. So yeah, we've talked about it. Now, I can honestly say I don't know the detail. I didn't want to know any of the details, the real hardcore stuff. But we're talking about, things that maybe he doesn't have to reveal any confidences, because I have no idea what Murdaugh's position is in this case, what he thinks. I didn't want to know. I felt like I could be better use for people, for Dick and for Jim or anybody, media, if I did not know that information. I just don't want to get into that. I wouldn't want to. So I could easily say I don't know.
So he never got into any specifics?
No.
As you think about this trial, what are some things, in knowing Harpootlian, knowing the case, what are some things that we are for sure going to see?
Well, Dick is, he's a defense lawyer, but he's a little bit unorthodox about, and what I mean by that is not in any kind of negative, it's a positive. Dick will try the case, and he will take the offensive in the case. He's not the classic defense lawyer where he's just looking at what the defense is going to be in the case. Dick is going to take it to them.
What does that look like in regards of taking it to them?
Well, he'll be objecting, and he'll have some pretty clear objections about what they're trying to offer. Dick has the ability to go ahead and he's very sharp, so he can be and sharp in two ways: sharp in his mind, but also with a sharp tongue. And he'll be trying to jab them and keep them off balance. And with anything they put up, whether it's opening statement, closing argument, whether it's evidentiary issues, whether it's witnesses, he's going to try and keep them off balance so that they're not going to be able to just read a script or do a script and follow up on it and put that all in evidence. He's going to try and disrupt that.
There'd be a lot of activity.
Yeah, I believe so.
Swerling's expertise doesn't end with his former law partner. He also understands jury selection is key in this case, especially with the deep roots the Murdaugh family has in the Low Country.
There's nothing wrong with them having relationships or knowledge. If they can be fair and impartial, they'll still get seated. So the judge will ask them that, despite the fact that you did business with them, can you still be fair and impartial in this case? And those people can still get seated. That doesn't knock them off completely. But that family, more so than any other, that I'm aware of around the state, was just involved in all aspects of the community. Politics, law, farming, anything you could imagine. They knew people in that community, and people had contact with them. And I think most of them were very popular.
As a defense attorney, what is your ideal juror in this case?
I would want middle-aged men with some degree of sophistication, where they could, if there's going to be some important evidentiary issues, that they would be able to understand those. But I definitely would want men in this jury. Jury. Well, you got the woman was killed, the wife was killed, and then you have the son that was killed. And I think women would tend to be a little bit more harsher about those kinds of issues. If they believe the evidence, they're going to react differently than a man. Men are not as, not a question of being callous, but emotionally they're not going to be as upset because of what they see as possibly a woman would be. And that's not a criticism. I mean, it's just nature. Women raise their children. The man is, out working. So there's a relationship, and they'll have, and I think that the women will be sensitive toward what happened to the wife and certainly the son.
The jury will be tasked with focusing on an expansive amount of evidence. And while Swerling says that's important, the motive for the crimes will be crucial for the state to prove guilt. What would you see as the most damning evidence against your client if you were trying this case?
Well, if they were able to connect up a motive, that would be damning, because that's the thing that I have as a lawyer and as a just a layperson too, trying to put on two hats. That's the thing that bothers me. First of all, why would somebody kill their son? How would somebody kill their son? We have homicides all the time between spouses. I mean, that is, the emotion between spouses can build up, and so we see a lot of that. Obviously, it's wrong, but you see a lot of husband and wife homicides because of that. It's a very love and hate are very close together, so that emotion comes out. But a son, I mean, what could you have possibly? What can your son possibly have done that you would do something like that? So I have reservations about that. But if they have phone records and cell tower records and witnesses and odometers and whatever it may be to tie in a certain time frame, and that would have been possible, then I would be looking at that as a juror. So I think those are going to be some big issues in the case.
And now just a reminder, we are posting real-time updates on the trial inside the Fox County News app and online as well. It is ongoing at this moment. We'll continue tomorrow with jury selection, and we will have much more from Jack Swerling throughout the week. We spoke to him on a number of topics. Also has insight about how he believes Dick Harpootlian will work with Murdaugh's other attorney there in that case. So we have a lot coming up right here on Fox Carolina News.